Hello, this is Lodge Magician, and welcome to my presentation on meditation for magical practices. Now, I will probably do other meditational videos as we go, but this is going to be a basic introduction to meditation and some of the meditations that you should be doing as part of your magical practice. So, first off, why do we meditate? Well, meditation does many things for us. It allows us to calm our minds, to help focus our intentions on the desired outcomes that we're looking to achieve. It aids in visualization and creating those mental images and thought forms when we're working our magic. And it boosts our magical practice. It basically gives it a supercharge and makes it easier for us to do the magical work that we're doing with, say, ritual or spell work. When we incorporate meditation into it, it becomes much more focused and gives it a boost of energy. So the question becomes, what exactly is meditation? So meditation is essentially entering into an altered state of consciousness in one form or another. Now, of course, this is all done through our own focus, our own intention, and our own exercises, that we're not relying on external forces to put us into that altered state of consciousness. Meditation is often attained by proper breathing and focus. In fact, breathing and focus are two of the biggest things in meditation, and nearly every system of meditation that you'll look at will have those two things in it, proper breathing and proper focus in one form or another. Now, there are a couple of different types of meditation that we're going to look at. Passive meditation and active meditation. And we're actually going to look at those two categories in more detail in the next slide and go over the differences between them. So, passive versus active meditation. So let's look at passive first. So passive meditation is meditation for quieting and stilling the mind. This is what you would think of as Zen meditation. It's a very calming, very peaceful meditation. And really, during it, your mind is not doing much. It's in a quiet place. It's striving for stillness. Now, this can bring about a deep state of calm and a deep state of peace. It can be used for intuition and to develop focus. And there are many health benefits that come from this type of passive meditation, especially as you calm your body and your breathing. It can benefit your heart, your circulatory system. It can reduce stress. All of these things provide amazing health benefits. Now, with active meditation is actually putting your mind to work in a focused way. You get all of the benefits of passive meditation, and you start using your mind to do work to achieve goals. With passive meditation, when you actually start to think about something, you start to do something, you lose that state that you're in. Although the calmness may stay, but the meditative state is lessened or disappears. With active meditation, you're actually doing work with your mind and focusing it to your intent and your purposes so that you can have a goal and be working at it while you're in that meditative state. And for magical purposes, it's my opinion that active meditation is much more effective than passive meditation. That's not to say passive meditation does not have its place, but active meditation is much more oriented toward achieving results and achieving your goals, rather than just being in a passive state like you would get in passive meditation. So let's talk about the first meditation that we're going to discuss, and it's called the Fourfold Breath Meditation. And you've probably seen variations of this. It's not an uncommon practice. It's a It's one based on rhythmic breathing exercises that we do in ceremonial magic. The fourfold breath helps us to calm our mind and our body while building up energy within the subtle bodies, filling us with that life energy or that light energy that we use in our magical practice. It also helps to focus the mind on one specific point, which is the count that you are doing during the fourfold breath meditation. And because of this, this is going to be one of the, if you join a magical school or a magical lodge, something like the fourfold breath will probably be one of the first things that you're taught in that system of training. To perform the fourfold breath, it's basically rather easy. You inhale for a full 4 count. So as you're inhaling, you're counting in your mind 1, 2, 3, 4. And then you hold your breath for a 4 count. 1, 2, 3, 4. Exhale for a 4 count. And then hold the exhale for a 4 count. And it's just that cyclic pattern of breathing in and breathing out on that 4 count and holding the in-breath and the exhalation. And when you're doing this, you want to breathe deeply from your lower lungs. Your belly should expand when inhaling and contract when exhaling. And when you hold your breath, you don't want to tighten your throat and close it off to hold the breath in. And a lot of people will do that when they're holding their breath. They'll inhale and they'll tighten their neck and close off their throat so that the breath doesn't escape. That's not what we're striving for with this, because we're striving for relaxation. So all of the control when you're doing this breath should be coming from the diaphragm, from your lower abdomen. Now, what I suggest is that you get a metronome to start off with. And I've actually done this with many of my students when we first start teaching this meditation, and set it for about 60 beats per minute, which is 1 beat per second. And you inhale for 4 beats, hold for 4 beats, exhale for 4 beats, and hold for 4 beats. And I usually start people off with about 5 minutes. So I'll get a metronome. I have an app on my smartphone for doing it. I'll find an app and post a link to it in the description below this video that you can do online that'll do the same thing. And you set it for about 5 minutes. And they always comment they're surprised at how quickly that 5 minutes passes. That 5 minutes of just breathing and just focusing on the breath as you do this. And this is a great meditation to start off with. This is one that I personally use a lot whenever I'm doing magical practices or my daily ritual magic, or my daily ritual practices, or if I'm doing magic for a specific purpose. I'll spend a few minutes before the ritual or the magical work just doing this to calm myself, to focus myself on what I'm going to be doing, to build up energy in me, to establish that focus, and then I start doing the magical work. So the next meditation we're going to be looking at is another basic beginning meditation. I've called it Meditation 1. If you join a magical order or school, this will probably be one of the first meditations that you learn, along with some type of breathing exercise similar to the fourfold breath. And often this meditation is used in conjunction with the fourfold breath, where you'll do the fourfold breath for 5 minutes or so and then move into this meditation while still doing the fourfold breath exercise. And I also call it the point. And the reason that I do is that it's the contemplation of a single point and focusing your mind and your awareness onto a single point. Now this helps us, like I said, to focus the mind and bring it in on a single task, so that when at a later point we start doing magical works or magical practices, our mind is able to focus on one specific thing to the exclusion of other things, so that your intention is going toward that one specific point, and where your intention goes, your energy follows. It's a very excellent meditation it's very centering, very grounding, very much bringing you in touch with yourself. And of course, you want to start with doing this meditation. If you haven't done the fourfold breath prior to this, you want to take a few deep breaths and just relax your body and relax your mind. And then you want to focus on a single point as defined by mathematics. So having no height, no width, and no depth. Of course, any point that had no height, width, or depth, we would not be able to see because it would not have any mass. It wouldn't have any size at all. It would just be a single point. The way I often imagine this is if you're imagining a black cloth and then a little tiny pinprick of a hole where a light shines through so that you have a white spot on it, a teeny white dot. That's often how I visualize it, even though in my awareness or in my knowledge, I know that it's smaller than that, because even that has size. So I try to make it in my mind as small as I can and still be aware of it. And with time and practice, you'll get it smaller and smaller and smaller. And you just want to hold that visualization. You want to focus on that as you're doing your breathing. And just focus on that one point, and that's all you're focused on. Just that one point. And as you do that, you want to take notes of any ideas that arise as you're contemplating this point, any feelings that come up, any thoughts or contemplations that come up as you're doing this. Just be aware of them. Take note of them, recognize them. You'll want to remember them so you can write them down in your diary after you are done with your meditation. But just recognize them, become aware of them, and then focus back on what it is that you're focusing your intent on, which is that one point. And then while focused on this point, you want to try to contemplate the immanence of the divine energy throughout all nature, how everything is connected and everything is a part of nature. And I don't really want to talk a whole lot more about that concept, because when you're doing this meditation, you're going to come up with your own perceptions of what that concept is. If I start talking about it, you'll get my perceptions, and my perceptions may color your perceptions. So you want to just contemplate that oneness of all things and that awareness of all things as you're doing the meditation. And you would continue this for 5 minutes, 10 minutes. I would say start off at 5 minutes, continue on as long as you can. If you can make the time longer, make the time longer. It's going to do nothing but benefit you. And then the third meditation that we're going to talk about is not one that's taught in a whole lot of magical systems. It is in some, but not all of them. And it's a relatively new meditation practice called alpha meditation. So it's a very useful tool to have in your magical toolbox. And actually, alpha meditation was one of the first meditations that I learned when I was very young. I was still in junior high before I ever got into magical practices or anything. I found a book on it, and I've read about it and started practicing it, and have practiced it ever since. So basically there are many different levels of mental activity. The three that we're going to be concerned about here is beta state. And beta state is your normal waking brain. So the brain has a electrical pulse that's in it. And that pulse, it's called hertz. It's cycles per second. And a beta state, your brain is pulsing, which means it's operating at anywhere from 14 to 21 hertz. And this is your normal waking mind and your outer consciousness, the mind that you're in right now as you're listening to me talk, and the mind that you think with normally, and the mind that you act with. So your conscious mind, your ego mind, that everybody typically uses is beta state. Now, alpha state is a slower vibration of brain waves, anywhere from 7 to 14 cycles per second, or hertz. And this is the state that you're in when you're in an REM sleep, or a dream state during sleep. It's a state of inner consciousness. And actually, there were experiments done, and the Earth has its own pulse, its own vibrational rate that it vibrates at just in space, which is 7 cycles per second. So when you're at that bottom of the alpha state, when you hit that 7 cycles per second, your mind is pulsing on the same vibrational wavelength as the entire Earth, the physical Earth. So when you get into that state, you're actually harmonizing yourself with that Earth energy. And then there's a deeper state, which is theta state, which is 4 to 7 hertz of brainwave activity. And this is a very deep sleep state. There is some brain activity happening, but there's not a lot of conscious brain activity. And this is a very deep level of inner consciousness. And while it can be beneficial to go down to that point, and there are some interesting things that you can do, until you get comfortable working in alpha, it's very hard to function in theta. So I don't recommend trying to get down there at that point starting off. Just practice going into alpha. And in alpha state, you can get a lot of magical benefit from it. Alpha meditation is designed to produce that alpha state in waking consciousness so that you can be up doing spell work, doing ritual work, or even doing mundane things like doing your job, doing housework, whatever it is. But you're in that alpha state of consciousness so that you can function more effectively than in your beta state. So being in alpha allows you to have more control of your body, your mind, and your energy, and your emotions, and everything that goes along with that. It's operating consciously with the subconscious mind. And what that means is your normal conscious mind is only about 12% or so of your mind capacity. When you're in alpha state and you're operating consciously with your subconscious mind, it allows more of your mind to be able to function and work toward goals, work toward things that you're doing, be able to focus more of your mind on that specific purpose. And this allows for easier communication with spiritual realms, easier communication with your subconscious. It makes it easier for you to change your programming in your life so that you can achieve different things or have different results. There's many, many different things that you can do with alpha meditation. It's a state that's entered into whenever you do trance work and hypnosis, but in those instances, a lot of times you're being guided into those states. And with alpha meditation, the goal of it is to be able to enter into the state and be able to be in control of it yourself. With practice, you'll be able to drop deeply down into alpha state in an instant, even with your eyes open, and you'll still be able to physically be doing ritual or doing your spell work or whatever it is in that altered state of consciousness. And learning to enter alpha involves physical and mental relaxation, along with the intent to drop down into alpha. And all of that is built into the alpha meditation. Now, I'm not including the alpha meditation in this video, but what I'm going to do is below, I'll put a link to a recording that I have done of the alpha meditation. And you can go through it, you can download it and listen to it, use it as a guided meditation, which I'll talk about guided meditations in just a moment. But remember, the goal is for you to be able to do it yourself. And just as a note, it's a long meditation. And it's designed to help you get down to that state. And as you do it repeatedly, what you'll find is the long parts of it, which are the physical relaxation and the mental relaxation, you'll start to be able to just drop into that state quickly and not have to listen to the entire thing. So you'll be able to enter those states much more quickly, and then with continued practice, you'll get to a point where you can just think about it and say, I'm going to relax my physical body, and it will relax. And then you'll relax your mental body, and your mind will relax. And then you'll drop down into alpha. And it'll take about as long as what it took for me to just describe it. Even quicker. You can do it almost instantaneously once you have the practice at it. But you get the practice by following the meditation, learning the meditation. Don't just follow my recording of it, but use the recording to learn how to do it so that you can guide yourself through it without having to listen to my recording. And now let's talk about guided meditations for just a moment. So guided meditations can be very useful, especially in the beginning, when you're working to learn the basics, and you're trying to get to a point where you're contacting other entities or experiencing other realms of existence or other planes of existence. Guided meditations can be very useful because they're helping guide you. They can be very profound, and you can have moving experiences with them, and they can be very powerful magically. But there's a trap with them, and you don't want to fall into the trap. That is, you should not solely rely on the guided meditations to achieve results. So just like I talked about with my alpha meditation that you can download, use that, but don't be burdened to that, or don't be tied to that. I've had people that have come up to me after they've worked with me for a while, and they've said, oh yeah, I've been doing the alpha meditation for a year now, and it's great, and I like it. And I say, good, tell me about it. And they say, well, I put on the recording and I listen to it, and I'll stop them and say, wait, you're not doing it. You're listening to me guide you to it. You need to take control of it and be able to get yourself down to that point, not just listen to me guide you down there, because then you're reliant on me guiding you into it. You need to be able to make that journey yourself. And the same thing with guided meditations. They're great for learning. They're great for the experience as you're going through it. But it comes to a point where you need to be guided to, or you need to be able to guide yourself and take control of yourself and your intent and where you're going with it. When you're just listening to the meditations, it means you're entering into a passive state and being guided by the person that's leading the meditation. And like I said, you should learn to make the journey yourself, actively taking part in your experience, so that you're guiding yourself and you're journeying to these places. And once you do that, then you're really moving beyond someone that's just listening to meditations and someone that's actively taking a magical action and doing magic in their lives for their benefit. Now, this takes a lot of practice. I'm not going to lie about it. You have to do practice consistently. You have to do it often, and it takes work. And sometimes it can take months or years of even practice to be able to get it effectively yourself without having to rely on the guided meditations. But it can be done. And it's going to be very much to your benefit for you to get to that point to where you're doing that by yourself. So thank you for joining me on this video. I know this one was rather short, but like I said, I'm going to have links below to the alpha meditation and to the metronome program. Please, if you like this video, if you enjoyed the video, like, subscribe to my channel. I do put out other videos regularly, and I'll be producing many more as we go. There's a great deal for us to cover throughout all of the magical teachings and magical practices, and we're just getting started with it. So please like, subscribe, and I will see you on the next video.